This is winning. America is winning right now, big time. President Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, JD Vance are dropping bombs literally and figuratively, guys. Right now, there are rhinos in the GOP and there are Democrats that are calling out Trump, opposing his decision, guys. Let me know where you stand with the whole dropping bombs on Iraq. But right now, we have some Republicans like Thomas Massie who are calling Trump's act to bomb Iran unconstitutional and that impeachments are on the board. Guys, who would have thought? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who would have thought that we would already have rhinos so against Trump's agenda? Impeachment is now on the board. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section because guess what? They're not the only ones. Democrats have now come out and said that they are ready to side with some Republicans to impeach Donald Trump for his acts of war against Iran. And guys, this is huge because again, too, they're trying to disrupt the America First policies, guys. Right now, we have to clean out the Republican Party, clean out the rhinos, clean out the deep state, and this is revealing it all. Not only that, big changes are coming to the big, beautiful bill. We have straight from the word Rand Paul to break up the bill into two bills to include the debt ceiling increase, put into two separate bills, also to put more protections to be more fiscally responsible to protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you trust Rand Paul with these essential programs? Because I'm telling you this, so much is happening right now. You got the foreign policy, domestic policy, but we have to make sure we take care of our seniors. And things are escalating so quickly right now, guys. We have Russia, China, and Pakistan who have proposed drafts of resolutions for an immediate unconditional ceasefire in the Middle East from all parties. Do you think that Trump really is going to listen to all these other countries, or is he going to do what he says he's going to do? Because I feel like Trump's going to do what he's going to do. Not only that, with these many Democrats who are calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump for bombing Iran, saying that he did not get authorization from Congress, Mike Johnson has come out and said that I fully supported and approved everything having to do with what happened over in Iran with the B-2 bombers, guys. This is big because the Republicans like Thomas Massie, who are siding with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a leading leftist Democrat, saying that it wasn't constitutional. This does have grounds for impeachment against Trump. We are about to see this come up in the House, guys. This is nuts. But tell me this, guys. We have to clean out the Republicans. The real rhinos are exposing themselves. President Trump revealed that 6 bunker buster bombs were dropped on Iran's Fordow nuclear plant, 30 Tomahawk missiles launched by the U.S. submarines from over 400 miles away. Everyone is out of harm's way for now, guys. Trump strategically did this to protect America's interests. But we bring you everything, guys, because this is a big breaking news show today. Tom Homan has come out and said that Biden released 1,272 unvetted Iranian nationals into the United States, many potentially tied to sleeper cells. So the Homeland Security has just announced that we are on high alert in the United States. They believe that there may be cause for concern that sleeper cells will make themselves appear over the next week. In big cities, guys, we have to be protected. We have to let everybody know that we know that they're here and they're going to be on high alert, guys. Tom Homan says that they are the biggest concern was not just closing the open border, but the biggest national security vulnerability has already entered into our country as sleeper cells, guys. So let me know your thoughts on all this. We got so much going on. Trump is not playing around anymore. We are revealing these people that literally want to side with the Democrats and impeach Trump. Let me know your thoughts on this. We got a big bombshell news today, guys. Pun intended. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers. Thank you so much for your support. We are super excited about today's show. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want you here, guys, to bring you the top breaking news every single day. So much is going on. Just want to say thank you to everybody that supports our channel by being a member or giving a super chat. We want to give some special love to Michael Hendricks, Elaine Demeen. Show them some love in the chat, everybody. And thank you to everybody that, again, supports our channel. Today is our big day for donating at the end of the show to a local charity, homeless veterans charity, live on stream, guys. You're going to see this guy donate money, a lot of money with your support to this local charity. But we got a ton of breaking news to get into today. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, this is huge, guys. Not only have we just won this huge, just eliminated this nuclear facility in Iran, we have Republicans who are now siding with Democrats to want to impeach Trump. We now have it where Rand Paul has come out to reveal details about the big, beautiful bill, the Social Security aspect, the Medicare, the Medicaid. So much is happening today, but we got you guys. Check this out.
No nuclear weapons, except we mean it this time. It's a deal that Iran will not be able to cheat, which makes you wonder if they would ever sign it. Remember this from Obama's Iran deal, from Reuters, this reporting. The United States and its negotiating partners agreed in secret to allow Iran to evade some restrictions in last year's landmark nuclear agreement in order to meet the deadline for it to start getting relief from economic sanctions. The exemptions are loopholes and are happening in secret, and it appears that they favor Iran.
Right, here's where it started, guys.
The White House, the Obama administration, loopholes on a deal worth billions and billions of your dollars that only demanded that Iran not enrich uranium past a certain point, and Iran just cheated it anyways and enriched uranium past that point. They must think we are the biggest suckers in the world, and they love that. It's different now, though. They also continue to fund terror attacks throughout the region, and you were paying for it. Your tax dollars were going to Barack Obama in Washington, D.C., and they were being sent to Iran, and they were funding proxy terrorism throughout the Middle East.
Guys, and this is one of the big news today. Right now, you are seeing $2.1 billion was sent to Iran to try and stop them from enriching uranium. Well, guess what? They still did it. And now Trump has taken them out. And we have people like this already in the House who are saying that Trump should not have done it, that it was unconstitutional. Trump came out and said, drop this pathetic loser. Thomas Massie like the plague. He is not MAGA. And not only that, guys, because we bring you the receipts. I want to remind everybody that in 2016, Trump has not declared war. This president has the authority to conduct military action as commander-in-chief, but in 2016 alone, Obama dropped 26,171 bombs, and the Democrats still claim he never started a war. We also fact-checked it with the AI with Grog, guys, and look at this. In 2016, the U.S. military under President Barack Obama's administration dropped an estimated 26,171 bombs on 7 different countries that were adversaries. So I don't want to hear it from anybody. Trump is protecting America's interests, and we have to make sure that we hold these people accountable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Money. $1.7 billion in cash, January 2016, August 2016, $400 million in cash on a jet. Do you remember that? And all the excuses that they made. Oh, it's this and that. Oh, yeah. They gave them money. We're just relieving sanctions. You're giving them billions and billions of dollars. Example 1,000 of why Obama was such a disaster, a soft spot for terror regimes, and a lot of people working in the State Department that absolutely hated Israel and seemed to love terror. The president headed to his summer home back at Bedminster, his golf club, Bedminster, New Jersey, as Israel and Iran continue trading missiles. The president showing a tremendous amount of patience with the Iranians as they retreat to these same old tactics that you see again and again and again from places like North Korea, from places like Iran. Today, Iran's leadership clearly stated that they will not negotiate with the president until Israel stops the bombing. Take a listen.
Let me make the position clear. Under the current circumstances, and as the Zionist regime's attacks continue, we are not seeking negotiations with anyone, especially not with the United States. It is the Americans who are seeking negotiations. They have sent messages multiple times, including very serious ones, but we have explicitly told them that as long as the aggression and attack continues, there is simply no room for talk of dialogue or diplomacy. We have no discussions with the United States, which we see as a partner in these crimes.
Wow. And guys, let me tell you this. I'm telling you, we bring you everything, guys. Right here today, you are about to see the Defense Department has gone on high alert and reportedly expects Iran to make retaliatory strikes on U.S. bases and facilities in the Middle East. We also are showing you guys, because we show you everything, Homeland Security has issued a National Terrorism Advisory Bulletin saying that there is a summary of a threat to the United States with sleeper cells in the United States already, guys. And this is something that we acknowledge, we want to prepare for, and we want to make sure that everybody knows. And this is big because, again, too, no matter what, when Biden let in over 20 million illegal aliens, we know that there was over 1,200 Iranian threats that were let in, unvetted, and literally had tied to sleeper cells in the United States. They're in there, and we have no idea where these people are at. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
So there you have it, and that's exactly what you expect, right? The deranged Islamic nation that could have a nuclear weapon in a matter of weeks wants Israel to stop bombing their nuclear facilities for a weeks-long negotiation period. No problem there. Trump knows Netanyahu very well and knows that that is not going to happen. Take a listen.
The Iranian foreign minister this afternoon said if the U.S. is serious about negotiations, that you would call up Israel and request that they stop their airstrikes. Will you make that request?
Well, I think it's very hard to make that request right now. If somebody's winning, it's a little bit harder to do than
right
if
there,
somebody's
baby.
losing.
We're winning.
But we're ready, willing, and able, and we've been speaking to Iran, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Now, Iran is obviously stalling. They have no interest in any kind of a deal that Trump would actually approve. They want the old deals, of course, where we pay billions and billions of dollars so that they don't nuke Israel or the United States. Yes, we are that big of a doormat, or at least we were. Essentially, what Iran has gotten used to, give us money, we'll use your money to fund terrorism throughout the Middle East, and if you don't pay us, if you do pay us enough, we promise we won't at least drop a nuke. So we're going to use your money to fund terrorism, but we promise we won't use it to build a nuclear bomb.
Guys, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because this is happening really, really fast. The Democrats are already building a coalition to impeach Trump over this matter. I don't think that, I feel like he has every single right. There's lots of legal scholars out there that said he does have the right. But AOC, who is a big pusher in the Congress, said the president's disastrous decision to bomb Iran without authorization is grave violation of the constitutional and congressional war powers. And let me just say this, guys. I don't trust these leftist Democrats for nothing. And I believe if Trump would have talked with them, or some of the leaders would have talked with them within Congress, they might have, some of them, let it slip to Iran. That's why I believe he didn't let them know. But he did let Mike Johnson know, and Mike Johnson approved, which I'll show you in a minute. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. She said he has impulsively risked launching a war that may ensnare us for generations. It is absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment. Guys, this is big because, again, too, Trump cannot move forward with his policies if he's fighting impeachments.
And the Obama-Biden people that have run this country for 12 of the last 16 years were dumb or corrupt enough to let them get away with this. It's that bad. It really is. And again, we talk a lot about Robert Malley in the Biden State Department. These are people, these are Obama holdovers. These are people that are literally Iranian propagandists that work in our State Department. That's how they got deals that bad. And to add insult to injury, Iran still cheated those deals. They got a deal like that, all that money to just not build a nuclear weapon, and they still built a nuclear weapon, enriching uranium past acceptable levels, getting themselves on the way to building a nuclear weapon. Under the JCPOA, Iran got nearly a 4-week heads up before any inspections of the nuclear facilities. Can you imagine? You have a nuclear facility, you make a promise to not go past a certain level of uranium enrichment, and then you cheat on that, and they give you 4 weeks as a heads up. I mean, who in the hell puts these kind of deals together? That's the only deal, the only kind of deal that Iran wants to sign now. That's what we've gotten Iran used to. Here was Netanyahu earlier today.
He gave them the chance to do it through negotiations. They strung him along. You don't string along Donald Trump. He knows. He knows the game.
Ain't that
and I
the
think
truth?
that we're both committed to making sure that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and they won't.
So we're back to wait and see, right? How much patience does the president have? He has a lot right now. One thing is very clear. The big-name MAGA critics who earlier this week claimed that Trump was rushing us into a war have really missed the mark.
And guys, right here, this is such big news because so much is happening around the world. Russia, China, and Pakistan have proposed a UN draft resolution for immediate unconditional ceasefire in the Middle East. This is big, guys. You're talking about some of the biggest superpowers trying to tell the United States not to do anything. Trump's probably not going to listen, but I wouldn't either, just because, again, too, we're fighting Russia in this senseless proxy war through Ukraine because of these dang rhinos and all the establishment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to say thank you so much, Fred Samuel, for the super chat. Let's go. He said Trump did the right thing. Stay prepared for sleeper cells here in America. Things could get crazy fast. 100%. El Prophet, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. And thank you so much, Gene Kopech, for the super chat, guys. Y'all show some love to Gene Kopech. Said, take this gift for the veterans. I also honor my daughter, who is a veteran, and my son, who is still active after 20 years of service. We honor you for your donation. We honor you for the super chat. Thank you for their service. Tell them thank you from me, Gene Kopech. Y'all show Gene, true OG of the channel, some love in the chat for the kindness and supporting our veterans, guys, because this is the thing. If we get into a war, they're going to be the ones who's fighting for our freedoms. And we got to make sure that we support them through and through. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because again, too, it's getting deeper and deeper with what you're about to see next.
Hope that nothing has to happen even at all. Take a listen.
Prime Minister Netanyahu said that they had the capacity to take out all of Iran's nuclear facilities. So what role would the U.S. be able to play, and why would they, if Israel says that they have all of the abilities, their own military?
I'm not sure he said that, but they really have a very limited capacity. They could break through a little section, but they can't go down very deep. They don't have that capacity, and we'll have to see what happens. Maybe it won't be necessary.
Maybe it won't be necessary. Still hoping that they can figure out a way to a deal. As much BS as Iran has put this White House through, and after those 60 days where they just didn't want to negotiate at all, and the frustration that comes from that, especially for the president, he's still giving them this last chance because the last thing he wants to do is get involved.
Yep. And guys, let me show you this because, again, the biggest thing right now I feel like and I'm concerned about is that we have sleeper cells in the United States. Tom Homan confirms it. Biden released 1,272 unvetted Iranian nationals into the United States, many potentially tied to sleeper cells. He said, the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border, biggest national security vulnerability this country has ever seen. So that's where Tom Homan is on high alert. Guys, Homeland Security has already put out a summary of threat within the United States to let everybody know. If you hear something, if you see something, let us know, because we know that Iran or one of these other countries will not hesitate to do something stupid within the United States with these sleeper cells. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this truth, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, because we got even more deeper news, because your boy brings the people who know what's going on, guys. This is huge right here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Listen to this.
Well, we entered the war now, and though it's a limited strike, it opens Iran up to wanting to attack us back, either through cyber, terrorism, or through traditional means. So we'll have to see what the answer is. But I was struck by three things. One, it was pretty obvious it was going to happen today when the president avoided the cameras going into his sit-room meeting a little bit ago. a few hours ago. He almost never avoids the camera, so you knew something big was up. Obviously, the B-2s had been deployed earlier in the day. I think you will hear him say this was a limited strike and it's time for peace. And I think even in the last sentence of his social post, he said it's time for peace, it's time to make a deal. I think President Trump's goal all along was to have a limited participation in this, make sure that all three of those nuclear sites are inoperable and anything in them is blown to smithereens, and then go back to the table and try to get a deal. And if Iran doesn't, then I think the president will let Israel carry out the rest of these bombings until there's regime change in Iran.
Walk us through your understanding of the strike and the strike package. I mean, it seems expansive in the fact that he went to other nuclear facilities, which I'm kind of surprised at because I thought the Israelis had those. And then it didn't seem, I mean, it gave very limited information, but it didn't seem the intensity of what some people, John, you and I had actually talked about. You might need multiple runs over Fedor to actually take it, or Fordell to take it down. Your thoughts on the strike package, at least what President Trump's told us?
I think at least 3 B-2 bombers dropped on Fordo. That is an awful lot of ammunition. That's almost the equivalent of a small nuclear bomb in terms of its incredible implosion capabilities. And the early satellite imagery, I'm told, shows a complete destruction of that zone. So that's Fordo. And then there was Natanz. That was always expected. I think the surprise one is the third one. It's called, I don't want to mess up the name here, but it's called Isfahan. And it was the place where the very sensitive work of taking uranium from the state that Iran had enriched it and turning it into a metallic sort of capability that could be put on top of a warhead. Striking that one may have been a little bit of a surprise to people. We must have had intel that some of the nuclear materials were still there. And rather than take a risk or allow Iran to move them, we hit that one. So I think the third one was the trickiest, also the least expected. I think Natanz and Fordo were expected to be struck, and I'm told the 3 planes that struck Fordo left quite a crater, turned a mountain into a crater.
Guys, and I want to bring you some news that yesterday, whenever all this stuff happened, they thought they had an earthquake, a magnitude 5 earthquake, but what we're finding out was it was the result of all the bombings that happened that, like he just said, because it was 3 huge ones, it was the equivalent of a smaller nuclear bomb. That's how powerful this was, guys. And we're letting you see everything, let you know everything, because, again, it's important to have the full context of what's going on.
Why were you surprised that Israel didn't take a crack at this first? I mean, I think one of the reasons that, and there are, I would tell you, a lot, if you go in the chats, there's a lot of upset people. Right, there's some people that say, hey, President Trump did what he had to do, but there's a lot of people that are quite upset in the MAGA movement. Why do you think Israel did not lead this raid?
Probably because their planes couldn't drop the sort of bunker buster that would make a difference, and the last thing you want to do is strike Iran and not be able to take out the facility. So, you know, the truth of the matter is Israel has known from the beginning, even when it started this war, that its planes would never be able to at least take out Fordo. That's just too fortified and too deep in the ground with a big mountain sitting on top of it. America was the only option to do that. We're the only one with the capability of this bomb. And rather than take a half-hearted attempt and give the Iranians propaganda or give them time to move packages or people, I think the president decided he would do this. It would be on his terms. I think the Iranians were thinking they had a couple weeks. They had a couple days, it turned out. And I think the final decision to go today was driven by the rhetoric out of Iran the last
Guys, and remember, Trump said he gave them, this was last week, 2 weeks notice, and then he did it in a couple of days. I'm telling you, the genius of just making sure that America's interests are put first is so important with all of this. Want to say real quick, thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. Let's go. He said on September 27th, 2024, Biden-Harris administration for issuing Pentagon Directive 5240.01, which he claims military attack to use lethal force against American citizens on domestic soil. Is this still active, and who really ordered this? I'll check it out for you, brother. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate the lazy gardener for the super chat, Lily Ignacio. Thank you so much. Said, I support President Trump at 100%. The only vocabulary these lib turds know is impeach. Send AOC back to Somalia. And thank you so much, Fred Samuel, for the super chat. If you see something, say something, especially things left that don't look right. I lost a lot of buddies because of IEDs. Brother, we appreciate you. Y'all show them some love in the chat. And don't forget to show Gene Kopich some love in the chat for their donation. Appreciate you so much, guys. This is big with one I'm about to show you next because we got some more breaking news.
For hours, they have not signaled any desire for peace or negotiation or meaningful engagement. And so why waste any more time? I think that was the president's thinking.
You know, we knew Witkoff had a tough time, even told the Europeans that they couldn't even find out who was in charge to have a meeting. Of course, the rhetoric only heated up. A couple of things, John, before we let you go. The assessment of, the strike back of the Persians around the region, both in Iraq where we have troops, the naval assets we have, Persian Gulf, even hitting back maybe at some of our allies. What's your assessment of that? Because that's going to set the table. Does this get escalatory or not?
Yeah, I think the place that we need to be most on alert, most vigilant about is on our own soil with activated Hezbollah cells. While Al-Qaeda has always captured our attention in America because of the horrific 9/11 attacks, Hezbollah are much more professional. They are the best terrorists in the world, sadly. And they've had sleeper cells on our soil that we've known about.
Right there,
and
guys.
God knows what they swept into the country. It would have been, during Joe Biden's years, it would have been a lack of diligence for Iran not to take advantage of the open border. So we don't know who's here. I think the second thing that we will be watching for, according to my U.S. intelligence sources, is some sort of cyber attack aiming for the grid or satellites. And then the third strike would be striking something in our in the Middle East region, in the Persian region. I think Iran is going to be hard pressed. They are trying to reserve all of their missiles for Israel, so striking troops there probably won't be in the top options for them. I think they want to create some shock, awe, and terror in Americans' minds to turn the American public against the president on this.
Yep.
So I would be watching for non-conventional, non-traditional warfare in the next 72 hours.
About Bibi, since they didn't they weren't involved in actually the pass tonight to shut down the nuclear weaponization and enrichment. Their goal has obviously been regime change. How do you think that plays in? Do you think President Trump has backed him off that, and that may be a sine qua non of his getting involved at this level? I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
I get the sense, and again, that's from talking to both Israelis and Americans, that the president has given wide latitude to let Netanyahu wage the sort of war that he wants to for what he thinks is best in Israel's interest. Israel stands much closer to the danger of a nuclear missile and other armaments than we do. And I think the president gave some deference there. I would not be surprised if this strike is followed up by a decapitation strike by Israel aimed at trying to take out the political leadership. The military leadership is extraordinarily decimated. Iran has been in chaos. Some of their plans for Iranian missiles based on our intercepts, they didn't go according to plan because they literally don't have senior officials able to make the call. And so some of their missile launches, what they thought they were doing in Iran and what actually got launched were a little off, which tells our American intelligence that Iran is disorganized, that those decapitation strikes and the military leadership have had some operational effect. I would not be surprised if Israel decides to take a decapitation strike against the leadership, whether it's the Ayatollah. My sense of it is that the president is giving Bibi Netanyahu whatever latitude he needs to finish the job. At this point, nobody expects Iran to make a deal, although the president will keep pursuing that. And I think the alternative now is for Israel to finish the job is, I think, what a lot of people are thinking. Again, this is a dangerous situation. It's why a large part of MAGA has the concerns that it does about war and picking a fight with Iran specifically because of their asymmetrical warfare, their terror warfare. So we're going to have to be on high alert for a while and see what comes next in this process. But my understanding, at least, is what the president set out to do today, limited strike to...
Guys, again, and this is big because right now we've learned Iran's not organized, but guess who is getting organized? Democrats and this guy right here, Thomas Massie, where Trump literally called him, said MAGA should drop this pathetic loser Tom Massie like the plague. Not only did he call out Trump saying this was unconstitutional, Trump sent out a clear message, said Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky is not MAGA, even though he likes to say he is. Actually, MAGA doesn't want him. He is a negative force who almost always votes no matter how good something may be. Not only that, he is having an internal post-fight on X. Look at this, guys. Thomas Massie said, why didn't you call us back from vacation to vote on military action if there was a serious threat to our country? Mike Johnson came out and said the president made the right call and did what he needed to do. Leaders in Congress were aware of the urgency of this situation. Again, Trump knew what he was doing. But this is where we're having this all-out fight between the rhinos, between the people and the Democrats trying to side with these rhinos to try and impeach Trump. This is big, guys, because again, too, the people like this, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, want to impeach Trump, and if they can get enough votes, they could do it, guys. It won't get past the Senate, but it will pass in the House, which we don't need this to hold us up again. If you appreciate this truth, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support, because again, too, as we move forward into these next steps, we are seeing some big stuff happen, guys, coming from some people that I'm telling you what, this dude is a pit bull, guys. I love it. Your boy, Marco Rubio. Listen to this.
Action is the Secretary of State of America, Secretary Marco Rubio. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. Are we now at war with Iran?
No, we're not. This is not a war against Iran. This is very simple. 67 days ago, the President of the United States sent the Iranians a letter, and it said, you're not going to have nuclear weapons. You're not going to have a militarized nuclear program. Let's negotiate. I want to do this diplomatically. I want to do this peacefully. Mm-hmm. They tried to play him along the way they've played every American president for the last 35 years. Ooh. And, the president told them, if we don't get a deal, which is what he wanted, then I'll have to handle it differently. And that's what he did last night. He handled it differently. But that was an Iranian choice. We didn't make that choice. They did. By playing games with Donald Trump, they made a huge mistake, and President Trump acted last night. And I think the world today is safer and more stable than it was 24 hours ago. And a bunch of these countries putting out statements condemning us privately, they all agree with us that this needed to be done. They got to do what they got to do for, their own public relations purposes. But the only people in the world that are unhappy about what happened in Iran last night is the regime in Iran.
Have you heard?
And guys, I want to go ahead and show you this real quick because it's super important. Remember how we got here. Hillary Clinton supplied Iran with uranium to enrich their nuclear program. Barack Obama gave Iran $1.7 billion that they used to fund their nuclear program, and Joe Biden unfroze over $16 billion of funds for Iran. This is the facts of what's happened over the past decade, guys. So when they try to say that it's all Trump's fault, no, Trump is trying to prevent what could be a disastrous event if the Iranians were to gather and build a nuclear bomb. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
From anyone in Iran, and are you expecting retaliation?
Well, if they retaliate, it'll be the worst mistake they've ever made. Look, we can fly in and out of Iran at will. We went in last night. The president sent our military forces from halfway across the world, went in, conducted this operation, left. Not a shot was fired against us. They didn't even know what had happened. By the time we left, the planes were out of their airspace before they finally started realizing they'd been hit.
That's America, baby.
It would be a terrible mistake if Iran retaliates. But that's not our goal. We are not declaring war on Iran. We're not looking for war on Iran. But if they attack us, then I think we have capabilities they haven't even seen yet. It would be a terrible mistake on their part. And frankly, it's not what we hope for or wish. What we want now is to ensure that Iran never has nuclear weapons. If what they want is a civil nuclear program where they have power plants like a lot of other countries in the world have, they can do that. That's the deal that's been offered to them. They rejected it. They played us. They tried to play us, I should say. They wouldn't respond to our offers. They disappeared for 10 days. And now, the president had to take action as a response.
And the response included strategic ambiguity. Can you walk us through the plan in terms of how it was deceptive, not allowing the Iranians to understand what was really taking place?
Well, ultimately, when we do these things, it's because we care about the safety and security of our troops, of our airmen, and all those who are supporting these missions. So, you know, obviously, the element of surprise is important in military tactics. In this particular, now, I don't think the Iranians or anyone should have been under any mystery. The president said very clearly, we have 60 days to make progress on a deal, and if we don't, I'm going to deal with it differently. But in terms of what people call deception and surprise and things of this nature, the core of that is not the success. The mission was going to be successful no matter what. The core of that was protecting our servicemen and women who are in harm's way and conducting that mission. That's the most important part. And they went in, they did what they needed to do with precision and skill that no other military in the world can do. And they left. And they were well outside of Iranian airspace before the regime even realized what had happened. And that was the goal here, and that was achieved. You know, these planes came from halfway across the world, and no one even, Iran, no one saw them coming. And that's a huge credit to Pete Hegseth and General Kane and General Kurilla and obviously our commander-in-chief for pulling that off.
Guys, and I'll tell you this. Again, Pete Hegseth, guys. But I want to show you this, what Trump said. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And if you didn't know, what we used to attack them was the B-2 bombers, guys. The B-2 bombers literally cost over $1 billion to make just one of them. That's how powerful they are. No other fighter, I don't even know if you call it a jet, but it is a fighter jet in the world compares to what we use. And that's why he said they flew literally across the world and hit them, and they had no clue what had even happened. That's the power of the United States, baby. That is MAGA. That's the American way, guys. We get in, we do what we need to do, and we get out.
The president said in a post recently that he knows where the supreme leader is hiding, but that he was not ready to take him out yet. What can you tell us about your expectations with regard to regime change in Iran?
Well, that's certainly not the goal of what we're working on here. The goal is stated very clearly in a letter the president sent the supreme leader about 65, 67 days ago. And in a letter he said, you're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Let's negotiate peacefully a solution. We can make a really good deal that's good for Iran, good for America, good for the world.
Let's
if
go.
you don't, however, then I'm going to have to deal with this differently. The Iranians didn't like the letter. They didn't respond to it. They ultimately entered into fake negotiations and tried to play him along. In essence, they thought they could do with President Trump what they've done with presidents in the past and get away with it. And they found out last night that they can't. And the world found out last night that you can't.
Yes.
And that's important, not just on this issue, but for so many other issues happening around the world. I think that what we are seeing is that this is a president that tells you what he's going to do, and then he does it. And I think that to a lot of people, including the Iranian regime, is shocking.
Promises
what are your
made,
expectations in terms of Iran's nuclear capabilities today?
Well, they're certainly degraded. Look, at the end of the day, if Iran is committed to becoming a nuclear weapons power, I do think it puts the regime at risk. I really do. I think it would be the end of the regime if they tried to do that. It's certainly been set back from a technical standpoint, not just due to what we did last night, but obviously the Israelis have done incredible work in advance as well. But ultimately, they have to make a decision. It's a very simple decision. If what they want is nuclear reactors so they can have electricity, there are so many other countries in the world that do that, and they don't have to enrich their own uranium. They can do that. But if what they want is a secret program buried in the mountain where no one can see it and inspectors can only come when they say they can come, if that's what they want, then they're going to have big problems. Because this is a dangerous, violent, radical regime. Not the Iranian people. We have no problem. We didn't hit Iranian people last night. We hit nuclear facilities. And if what they want is some secret program that looks nothing like the civil nuclear programs around the world, it looks a lot like you're trying to build a bomb, they're going to continue to have problems, not just with us, but with many other countries in the world.
Problems like what? What do you mean?
Like the problems they're facing right now. Listen, why do we have bases in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and Qatar and UAE? All of those bases are there to help protect those countries from Iran. Why did Hezbollah exist? Because of Iran. What does Hamas exist? Because of Iran. How do the Houthis exist? Because of Iran. Who built the IEDs that maimed and killed American soldiers in Iraq? Iran. They're behind every problem in this region. They are the sole source of instability in the entire Middle East, and the world's been paying a price for this for 40-something years.
Wow.
Imagine those people having a nuclear weapon, just one nuclear weapon, or even the capability to being on the threshold of having a nuclear weapon. That's what the world was facing. That is unacceptable. President Trump did the world a favor last night, and now Iran should sort of wake up, the Iranian regime should wake up and say, okay, if we really want nuclear energy in our country, there's a way to do it. That offer's still there. We're prepared to talk to them tomorrow and start working on that. Steve Witkoff has traveled extensively around the world trying to reach that deal with them, but they play too many games. They play way too many games, and now they found out.
Let's go, guys. This is the epitome of FO, guys, and I want you to see this because this, to me, is just as important, everybody. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Tom Homan confirms that Biden released 1,272 unvetted Iranian nationals into the United States, many potentially tied to sleeper cells.
Can you assess that issue particularly? How many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells trying to do bad to America right now?
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the Border Patrol. And you compare that to the Trump administration, zero. Right, zero releases. And right now, because of President Trump's leadership, we have the most secure border in my lifetime, most secure border in the history of this nation. So we have a secure border. That was President Trump's big win on securing this nation. So we're not releasing people in this country. Special interest aliens aren't crossing that border undetected. But under Joe Biden, we had over 10 million people cross that border. But my biggest concern from day one, beyond the fentanyl, beyond the sex trafficking women and children, were the 2 million known gotaways. Over 2 million people crossed that border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, because they got away, because Border Patrol is so overwhelmed with the humanitarian crisis that Biden created that over 2 million people crossed the border and got away. That is my biggest concern, and that's what created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen.
Guys, and again, this is big stuff, but what I love is that Trump knows the media is going to try to spin it. They're going to try to say certain things, but literally, they have Rubio going out and literally smacking everybody with the truth, guys. This is good stuff. I'm starting to really like Rubio, and I can see this dude, him and Vance, as potential contenders for the president in 2028. Let me know your thoughts, but listen to this, because this is being a boss, letting everybody know that America does not play around, especially under the leadership of Trump. Check this out.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked in the media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is the
everything they need
key
to build
point
a weapon.
in U.S. intelligence assessment. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons. Because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's a question. That's a question. That's a question of intent. And you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold.
Guys, isn't it so crazy how you have this person who is trying to defend another country that literally says death to America with everything in her, trying to justify what's happening whenever she knows that, look, if they have 60% enriched uranium, it's not very far to get to 90%. And this is where, again, you see that a lot of these leftist wing outlets will not hesitate to be on the opposite side of whatever Trump does. And it clearly shows where they stand.
How do you know what the intelligence assessment says?
I'm talking about the public March assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
But that's also an inaccurate representation of it. That's inaccurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Now, forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60%? Right. If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon. Right. Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored. Yes. That's all we need to see.
Right. Well,
especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things. They are the source of all
yes, and no one's disputing. No one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was an order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we have intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Ooh, guys, more than enough. But again, too, this is what blows my mind, is that what do you expect whenever you make a deal with terrorists? Whenever you make a deal, especially, and you don't have a strong leader. Now, Mike Johnson has already come out and said the president's decisive action prevents the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism, which chants death to America, from obtaining the most lethal weapon on the planet. This is America First policy in action, baby. This is what we voted for. This is promises made, promises kept, guys. And again, we're seeing a lot of things happening because there's so many moving parts, not just to what's happening overseas and what Trump has just done, but also here in the States. And this is a guy who, again, is trying to change things to make things more fiscally responsible, to protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Listen to me. Listen to this. If you trust him, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this is pretty big.
Text of President Trump's big, beautiful bill yesterday. It includes major tax reforms and changes from the Senate, even steeper Medicaid cuts than the House called for. Other key differences include an increase in the child tax credit and a lower cap on the state and local tax deduction. Now it's going back down to $10,000 from the Senate. On salt, that's down from the House's $40,000 cap. New York Congressman Mike Lawler calling the Senate proposal dead on arrival, warning that he will vote no on the bill if the salt cap remains down at $10,000.
Did you see that? Guys, again, we already have Republicans who are fighting against this because they want $40,000 of salt tax deductions in blue states. They want red states to compensate for the blue states' horrendous policies where they put a lot of illegals first and give them billions and billions of dollars.
Congressman Lawler will be on this program with me tomorrow. We will get his reaction to all of the changes in the Senate. Joining me now is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. He is the chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee and a member of the Senate Foreign Relations and Small Business Committees. Mr. Chairman, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Thanks for having me.
So I want to get to the conflict between Israel and Iran in a moment, but you recently revealed that you are not an absolute no on this big, beautiful bill. I know you have concerns with raising the debt ceiling. What are your thoughts today on this bill?
You know, I'm absolutely in favor of the tax cuts. I voted for the tax cuts in 2017. I want to make them permanent. I think they were a big factor in the historically low unemployment we had in the first Trump administration. So I'm all in for the tax cuts. I'll vote for additional tax cuts. I actually believe, as Art Laffer and the supply siders have said, that you can cut rates and actually get more revenue. In the end, the tax cuts from 2017, I think, did pay for themselves. So they've got me on the tax cuts. I'm all for it. I'm enthusiastically for it. I want more spending cuts, but I realize that there are many, big government Republicans that aren't going to allow really significant cuts. But I can vote for cuts that aren't everything that I want. But I can't vote to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion, because really what that means is that we're going to get more of the same, and that even though the numbers sound big on cuts that are in this bill, when you put them against an annual deficit of $2 trillion, you say, oh, we're going to cut $150 billion. well, the deficit this year is going to be $2.2 trillion.
Yep.
If you cut $150 billion, which isn't really real in the
less
first
than
year,
10%.
you'd still be at $2 trillion in debt. So we're really not transforming or changing the direction of the country away from bankruptcy. So I can't vote for the debt ceiling, but I've said, look, you want my vote? Negotiate with me. I think we could have a separate vote on the debt ceiling. They may well be able to get that. If they could get Democrats. Democrats love debt. The Democrats have always voted to raise the debt ceiling. There's not one instance in our history where Democrats didn't vote to raise the debt ceiling. So let the Democrats own it. Don't have the Republicans own this monstrous debt.
Yeah, no, I understand your thinking here, but look, we've got the so-called X date coming up when the government runs out of money in August. We're waiting on whether it's August or closer to September, but regardless, you've got to raise the debt ceiling. So what are the solutions? Are you saying raise it temporarily? Are you saying, you just want a separate vote? And are you sure you're going to get Democrats to actually go along with that? Because once the market starts figuring out that the government is about to run out of money and we don't have a lift in the debt ceiling, don't we have a spiral out of control where markets start reacting and trading down?
Yeah, I'm for going ahead and extending the debt ceiling. I would do it in short increments.
Okay.
The reason I would do it is to keep it on the front burner. But I also think this, that, recently...
Again, guys, we always bring context to what we're saying. First, Rand Paul was against raising the debt ceiling whatsoever, and now he's like, okay, I'll raise the debt ceiling, but in short increments of every quarter, so that way we don't just give a huge open door of just allowing so much to be able to go through. And this is the part where, again, too, guys, what I love is we bring the truth on this channel. If you make personal attacks on anybody in the chat or on me, you will be blocked. And this is the thing. We have people that check on that. That we want to make sure that we always serve you with the best news. And again, these are people that are literally in the Senate and we hold them accountable, guys. Even... I don't care if it's Trump, I don't care if it's Marco Rubio, Elon Musk, we're always going to hold these people accountable to what they say and remind you so that you have full context. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
Moody's downgraded our debt because we have so much. Not because I didn't think we would pay it. I think most of the marketplace knows we always pay our debt. We always extend it. And even if you didn't, we bring in about $400 billion a month and our payments about $80 billion a month. So there's plenty of money to always pay our interest. We should take default off the table and not even talk about it because I think it scares and spooks the markets. But I do think that if you did it incrementally, in about 3 months, we'll be at the end of the fiscal year. And believe it or not, right now it's the big, beautiful bill. In about 3 months, it's going to be the big, beautiful omnibus or the big, beautiful CR that comes forward. And the question I will have at that time is, what have you done to correct the problem? You promised me, you promised conservatives, vote for the big, beautiful bill and we'll fix it at a later date. But if we keep voting on the debt ceiling every 3 months, then what would happen is they have to show us some proof if they want people to keep voting for it. So I'll vote for a 3-month extension, or I'll also vote for separating the debt deal onto another bill where the Democrats can own it, not Republicans.
Well, that's a very practical way of looking at it. I spoke with your colleague in the House a few minutes ago, Warren Davidson, who was only one of 2 no votes in the House. Listen to what he said. Are you willing to take this so far as to blow up the president's agenda? What is your problem with this bill? Is it debt and deficits? Are you going to vote yes on it?
Well, I didn't vote on it the last time. The problem is, as I said, there's only one Congress we control. It's the one we're in. And frankly, we control this presidential term, and it never spends less money. I could live with the fact that it spends a little more money and it grows deficits for a year or two if by the end of President Trump's term, it's back below the current level of the deficit. The current level of deficit isn't sustainable. That's why we've campaigned. That's why we pushed Doge. That's why Elon Musk is saying this is going the wrong direction.
Yeah,
We're trying to save money.
So you're willing to blow up the president's agenda. You're willing to blow up the president's agenda then?
I'm not voting for a bill that grows deficits, Maria.
So, Senator, bottom line here, do you think this gets over the finish line in July and gets to the president's desk sometime in July to get this passed?
Well, I think a good way of looking at this, because I tell people, like I say, I'm enthusiastically for the tax cuts. I voted for them in 2017. I helped to formulate those tax cuts in 2017. I will not be the deciding vote against this. I promise you that. If I'm the deciding vote against this, they will negotiate with me. Right now, they're not negotiating with me because they don't think they need me. So I will not be the deciding vote. The bill will not fail because of me. But if it is up to me and I am the deciding vote, There will be a negotiation, but there's going to be a conservative shift to the bill if they want my vote. And that's what I should do as a conservative.
Senator, let me move on to the breaking news of the day. This is day 5 of Israel's war on Iran's nuclear facilities. The IDF has killed Iran's newly appointed wartime chief of staff, the most senior military commander closest to the Ayatollah. He was only at the job 4 days after his predecessor was killed as well. President Trump maintaining on Truth Social Tehran cannot have a nuclear weapon and that Iran should have already come to the table to make a deal. The president is also warning, quote, everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran as he left the G7 summit in Canada early to monitor the Iran-Israel conflict from Washington. He's going to meet with his National Security Council in the Situation Room shortly this morning, Mr. Chairman. I know you do not want more wars and you don't want the U.S. implicated here, but what do you want to say in terms of the U.S.'s participation in supporting Israel's efforts to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, sir?
Guys, and I'll say this, we spent almost $9 trillion in Iraq. We spent, with the Iraq-Afghanistan war over 20 years, $9 trillion. Trump is just go in, do the job, get it done. And now this is so big right now of Democrats trying to side with some Republican rhinos and independents to try and impeach Donald Trump. Let me know your thoughts on this. This is what Alexander Ocasio-Cortez said. The president's disastrous decision to bomb Iran without authorization is a grave violation of the Constitution and the congressional war powers. It is absolutely and clearly grounds for impeachment. This is what they're trying to do to try to disrupt the America First agenda, the big, beautiful bill. It's right here, guys. And even too, Thomas Massie, who came out and said this is unconstitutional, right here, he said this is not constitutional relating to what Trump did. Tom Fitton over Judicial Watch said it is constitutional. As commander-in-chief, president has the authority to defend the U.S. in interest in this manner. Military actions such as this have been undertaken by presidents. And I got to show you this, guys, because again, too, if you, in 2016 alone, Obama dropped 26,171 bombs, yet Democrats still claim he never started a war. Trump takes out an Iranian nuclear facility, and now we're in war, this, and this. No, we're not. He took out a big threat that could have hurt a lot of people, and now everybody in the world is better for it, and America is safer. Now we just have to watch out for sleeper cells here in America, which Homeland Security has already notified and put out a security warning for that. I want to say thank you so much, Ava Bernard, for the super chat. Let's go. Said, I totally support President Trump. I love it. Y'all show Ava Bernard, guys. Gene Kopedge, some love in the chat for their wonderful donation. Guys, want to say if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, and if you're not subscribed to our channel, please consider joining our family here at True Life News. We're here to serve you and make sure that you get the top news every single day. Right now, guys, we're going to transition to our giving of the channel. You're about to see this guy give an online donation, because whenever you're a member, whenever you give a super chat, we take this money because, again, you donate, YouTube gets a portion of it, we take what we've got, and then we partner with you and we donate to a local charity live on stream. And it is super important to me that everybody gets to see this full transparency. Thank you so much, Adeline Starr, for the super chat. Let's go. She said, I believe in numbers. The Ayatollah has been in power for 46 years. The president, Trump, is president 45 and 47. I believe this is God's plan. Amen. Y'all show Adeline Starr some love in the chat. Guys, this is super important to me. And we told you on the 22nd of every single month, this guy right here is donating live on stream to a local charity to change lives, guys. And this month, we're donating to a local homeless veterans shelter, guys. I'm so happy to announce that we're going to be donating to this Operation Stand Down Veteran Services. The URL, I'll put it in the chat, is osdtn.org. You can go check it out for yourself. But this, to me, guys, is super important because, again, I want this channel to be known not just for bringing the truth, but for changing lives. And we want to honor those that have given their lives, that have given their time for our freedoms. And I want to show you right here, 2025 impact to date. almost 2,100 veterans served, almost 738 veterans assisted with housing. Guys, veterans assisted by with employment, 56, 573 hours volunteered by community members. With this is a local charity that is 100%, guys, what I'm about to show you, super important. That we're going to donate on screen right here. This is why I donate to local charities. Because it says of every dollar donated, 84 cents goes directly towards assisting veterans and their families. And I have a personal friend that I want to thank him for his service, Steve Bell, for showing me this service. And it means so much to me because, again, too, guys, we couldn't do this without you. When we started this channel, we always had this thought in mind, but we never thought that it'd be where it's at today. And we've grown so much, and that's why I just love what we do. I love that we are able to partner with you and give online. And it makes me so happy, and I'm so thankful, guys, to be able to let you know that today we are going to be donating $3,000 live on stream to this local charity, helping out these homeless veterans, helping out these veterans that need help, guys. And just like I showed you, of every dollar donated, 84 cents goes directly towards assisting veterans and their families. We're not talking about the dang government where it's a 60%, 70% goes to the big wigs or the elitists or the contractors, and then like 5 to 10 cents goes to the people that actually get the help. No, this is actually the majority goes towards helping the people that need it the most. Mudflap, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, help the children, man. The one that can't help themselves, God bless. I love it. Y'all show Mudflap some love in the chat. But you're about to see me, guys. This is, again, full transparency. We're right here. You see it on screen. Let me zoom in a little bit. So you can see right here, $3,000. This is a... This is from the TrueLife News family. This is... Let me go ahead and put this so they know this, guys, because this makes me so happy that we get to do this. News family on YouTube. Destination where it's needed the most. Make this no. So right here, guys, you already know my first name. You already know my last name. I'm going to just switch real quick, put in my personal information on here so that protect my personal information, guys. But 1 second as I put my address and all this stuff in here, I'm going to switch real back one moment. And then I'm going to show you the next screen where we putting in the secure payment. So right here, guys, make sure that you can't see nothing. You see right here. Oh, nope. Okay, guys, we're about to donate this live on stream, and I'm so thankful to everybody that is watching. We are about to finish and pay, and I'm going to show you just a moment the success, guys, and this means so much to me. Let me make sure there's no personal information right there, guys. Yep, we're right there. This is the receipt. I'm at your gift details. Thank you so much for your generous support, Joel. This is on the website. You can go see it. Amount $3,092. They charge us, processing fee on 6/22. Where it's needed the most. Buy my MasterCard, guys. Right here. This is live on stream. This is fully transparent, guys. This is what matters to me, and I'm so thankful to everybody that has partnered with us to be able to give back to these local charities. Remember, on the 22nd of every single month, we are doing this live on stream. I want to give some special love to all those that are members of the channel. When you donate, remember your donations, your super chats, we donate live on stream, and we are changing lives. And thank you so much for the support. I want to give some special love to Gene Kopech for your donation today. Joanne Schlafani, Fred Samuel, El Prophet, Andy, the Lazy Gardener, Lily Ignacio, Fred Samuel, Eva Bernard, Mudflap. Thank you so much. I want to give some Adeline Starr to those. Tilly, thank you so much for the support. Said I love and trust President Trump. Thank you, God and President Trump. Show Tilly some love in the chat. Thank you so much to our OGs of the channel, like Mr. Tracy J. Norby. You got Elaine Demeen. You got Deanna Scott, guys. Show them, Lay Lewis, show them some love in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody that supports us in our giving. And remember, if you're not subscribed, please join our family as we deliver to you every day the breaking news, making sure that you're fully informed. We love and appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.